Hello everyone, my name is Olu Faloye and welcome to this week's edition of One-on-One with the Humble Prince. Today I'll be talking about women's rights in Nigeria and the recent Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill that was thrown out by the Nigerian Senate. Right now I'm joined by Wumi Asubiaro Dada, who's the output lead for the Voices for Change program, a program that promotes gender equality in Nigeria. The beautiful Wumi, thank you so much and welcome to One-on-One with the Humble Prince.
Thank you.
What brings you to town?
Well, every year the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women holds a 2-week session where countries come together to talk about the status of women in their countries, looking at the progresses that has been made or the challenges that women are facing. And more importantly, it's a forum that allows people to learn and share their experiences so that they can get back to their country to see how to make life better for women.
What is the state of women's rights in Nigeria right now?
When we look at civil and political rights, of course, we have our ground norm, which is the Constitution that sets in place the rights that we have as Nigerians. And yes, the Constitution does provide protection for women in terms of their civil rights and political rights. But in practicality, what we have seen happening in Nigeria is a situation where when you talk of cases of violations, you find that a lot of women are more affected than men. And when you talk of political rights, for instance, the right to be represented, you find that we have a situation in the country where we have just about 6% of women representing over 80 million Nigerians in the different, legislative houses, both national and state legislature.
Exactly, because I think of the 109 senators, I think only 7.
There are 8 women.
8 women now.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's low representation.
It's really low. And out of the 360 House of Representatives, we have just 20 women.
Wow. And
at the state, there are several states without a single woman, in the House of Assembly.
Wow.
Now, when we talk of social economic rights, we have different rights within that particular component. And when you speak of education, you speak of health, we know that the Nigerian Constitution only places these within the objectives within the country, which means that you cannot go to court to claim those rights. That is what it means. They are not fundamental rights in the country. And when you look at the indices, you find that there are more women or more girls that are at risk or that are not assessing their rights because of cultural biases and because of other factors. So there are less girls that are transiting from primary school to secondary school and even fewer girls transiting from secondary schools to universities. And so what that means is that when there are opportunities for employment, you find fewer women able to take up such opportunities. When you speak of issues such as climate change, which you would put within the confines of social economic rights, of course, women are more affected. Moreover, the burden of looking for firewood or looking for water falls squarely on women because those are the gender roles that has been ascribed to women in our society. Wow. So you find that climate change is affecting Nigerian women more than the Nigerian men. You find that women are bearing the face of poverty. And this is not only in Nigeria, you find this in so many developing or underdeveloped countries.
Wow, it's such a shame. What do you think we could do to improve the status of women's rights in Nigeria?
I think the first thing that is very important and that is key is political will. Once we have the political will of those in government, because government has the legitimacy of the people, once we have the political will of the government, they would ensure that we have an even development. Because what is happening is that where we are having the gains of development, a particular sex, now 2 sexes make up the population of any given country. A particular sex is benefiting more than the other sex. Right. So what we want is political will to ensure even development. Another important thing that we need to do as a country is to put in place strong legal frameworks and ensure that they are enforced. because rightfully so, we do have laws in Nigeria that seeks to provide promotion and protection of rights for all Nigerians. But the challenge lies with enforcement. Of course, there are also some laws that in themselves are discriminatory. Like, for instance, there is a law, the Penal Code, provides that a man is entitled to correct his wife. And where a man corrects his wife and she spends less than, I think it's about 40 days in the hospital due to injury, it is regarded as a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor is a less serious offense. So you have laws that in themselves are discriminatory. We need to actually amend these laws.
Let's elaborate on that a little bit. When you say correct his wife, like, what do you mean? Like physical violence?
It's taken as correct.
No, but let's call it what it is.
Now, it's taken as correct, and penal code is applicable in the northern part of Nigeria. And it is taken as correct because experts have said that it is taken from the Islamic religion, where there is an injunction that a man can take the sleeve of his dress to correct his wife. But that injunction says in a loving manner. But of course, what you are doing is you're putting power in the hands of a man to correct his erring wife. So, funny enough, that equal power is not given to a woman.
That's what I'm saying. I was just going to ask that. When is the woman going to correct the man?
And some of these laws have, they've been handed down to us from the time of colonization, and it is high time that we moved to a new trend. There is a particular new law that was recently signed into law just before President Goodluck Jonathan left, which is the Violence Against Person Prohibition Act. It is applicable in the FCT because National Assembly passes legislation on such issues for the FCT. Now, what that new law does, it aligns with the global definition and global happenings around violation against women. So you find that law defines rape according to the to the principles by the International Criminal Court, because after the Rwanda incident, the International Criminal Court had to expand the definition of rape. And so that is what this VAP Act does for us now. It takes into cognizance new forms of violations that we didn't know would come upon us, acid bath, and all those forms of violation. And it is one that seeks to protect not only women, but also men, especially men that are vulnerable to such violations. Young boys that are vulnerable to violations. You heard about the case in Calabar one time that kids were being accused of witchcraft, and they were being beaten, they were being burnt.
That still happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone under the radar, but there was a time that it was
really popular. It was widespread,
exactly. Gender equality is not a women's issue.
Exactly.
You do not put the burden on that person that is a victim already. Now, a lot of people say, why don't women vote for women? Why should only women vote for women?
Right. I think
we should see this as a societal issue. It would interest you to note that 70% of those that were sampled, 70% of the men say that they do not commit, actions that border on violence, domestic violence. Meanwhile, about 68% of women reported being beaten. So it is not spirits that are beating the women.
Exactly.
They believe that a girl that wears miniskirt deserves to be raped.
Yes. You must have just read my mind, because I did an interview recently with another women's rights activist, Ruth, and we spoke about that. We actually took a survey, and not only men, but some women believe that yes, if a woman dresses provocatively, she deserves to be raped.
Yes,
that's wrong.
Because it happens within a domestic setting, it is regarded as domestic violence. And you find that both women and men are perpetrators, even though men are the highest perpetrators than the women.
The percentage is high with men, but some women too.
Yeah, but some women also do, especially against their house helps or people that they have power over.
Exactly.
And what makes domestic violence to thrive is that issue of power relations.
Exactly, and it's a class thing. I think it's a class thing.
It's not actually, it transcends class.
Really?
There are professors that are being beaten in their homes, but will still brush up and go to school the following morning and lecture on issue of human rights. It's a behavioral trait and one that we need to nip from the bud. Now, how do we do this? People need to train their children to understand when they're being violated, and also to train them in a way that they do not violate another person's rights. And our law enforcement officers, of course, they need not only to be trained, but they need to also be motivated to do things better. Because you find situations where a woman walks into a police station and says, my husband just beat me, and the police officer says, Madam, did you put too much salt? Things are changing, is the truth, because the police is getting more opened. They're being trained. You find that police, are working with development partners. They're setting up human rights desks. They're setting up gender desks in some model police stations. And you can be rest assured that those police stations would not turn back a woman that has, been affected by domestic violence. Nigerians need to support women's leadership.
Yes.
Nigerians need to ensure that we have a country that is better for the 180 million or 180 million plus Nigerians, and not just the 70 or 80 million men, but also the 80 million women in the country. We need to come out just like we did for the fuel subsidy, removal in January.
Occupy Nigeria,
Occupy Nigeria, to occupy the streets when our legislators refuse to give us stronger legal frameworks in the country.
I like what you put on your, was it Twitter or Facebook, or one of them, you said, injustice makes my blood boil.
It does.
It should make your own blood boil too. Okay, Wumi, thank you so much.
If you're looking for a taste of Africa, visit us at OVA Boutique, located at 1421A Stuyvesant Ave, Union, New Jersey, or our website, ovaboutique.com. We carry a wide range of African fabric, dresses, head ties, and accessories, as well as services that will help you with any type of events such as weddings, birthdays, and anniversaries. If you're ready for an experience of the motherland, visit us today.